Nick Saban issues statement on DJ Durkin's involvement with Alabama. You had to know this was coming. Earlier this week, a report surfaced that former Maryland head coach has been in what was described as a consultant-like capacity ahead of its playoff game against Oklahoma later this month. Given Durkin's controversial exit from College Park, the report raised more than a few eyebrows. In light of the mini firestorm that erupted, Alabama Friday night issued a statement attributed to in which the head football coach of the Crimson Tide addressed the level of Durkin's involvement with his football program. Durkin, two members of the training staff and then head strength and conditioning coach were in early August after a bombshell report alleged mishandling of the medical event that preceded the death of Maryland offensive lineman and detailed what was described as within the football program. That report described the toxic culture under Durkin as one based on fear, intimidation, belittling, humiliation and embarrassment. Players were, allegedly, routinely subjected to what was described as extreme verbal abuse that included, in part, obscenity-laced epithets meant to mock their masculinity. On October 30th, it was confirmed that Durkin would remain as the Terrapins' head coach. The next day, and amidst an avalanche of criticism from, and, U of M, College Park president announced that Durkin had been. Everybody deserves a second chance, although one can debate the merits of giving that second chance so close to a coach's first chance cut short, in part, by the death of one of his football players. Personally, I don't know what length of penance should be served, but it just feels like less than 2 months is not nearly enough. When we say a streak, a stat, a side of the ball is the best in college football, typically it's implied such a statement applies only to FBS. The game's highest division gobbles up 99.9% of the attention, and with good reason. That's where 99.9% of the best players live. But when we say UCF's 25-game winning streak is now the longest in college football, it's actually true now. Mary Hardin-Baylor, Texas, knocked off Mount Union, Ohio, 24-16 in the Division III National Championship on Friday night, in the process ending the Purple Raiders' 29-game winning streak and handing UCF the crown. According to a study, half of the nation's 10 longest winning streaks reside in the FBS, and with good reason. While the other divisions funnel all their best teams into one bracket in order to find the very best team, FBS puts only 4 teams in its tournament, allowing UCF to put together 2 straight unbeaten seasons, minus 1 game, without competing for the national championship. 1. UCF, 25 games. 2. North Dakota State, FCS, 20. 3T. Alabama, 15. 3T. Mary Hardin-Baylor, Division III, 15. 3T. Morningside, NAIA, 15. 3T. Valdosta State, Division II, 15. 7T. Clemson, 13. 7T. Notre Dame, 13. 9. Princeton, FCS, 10. 10. Army, 8. Certainly the Knights would trade their 25-game winning streak for a shot at Alabama, Clemson and the like, but their consolation prize is the longest winning streak in all of college football, for as long as they keep winning. Got the biggest win of his Oregon head coaching tenure on Saturday. The Ducks don't play again until New Year's Eve. Oregon landed the commitment of 5-star defensive end on Saturday, a 6'4", 239-pound defensive end out of Oaks Christian in Thousand Oaks, California. Thibodeau announced his pledge on ESPN during halftime of. Thibodeau is rated the #1 player in ESPN's rankings and number 10 by and. Those rankings put him at number 2 in the composite rankings, trailing only IMG Academy defensive end, a Georgia commit. Oregon beat out Alabama, Florida and Florida State for Thibodeau's services. There were a lot of reasons why I chose Oregon, Thibodeau said, via. I have a great comfort level with the coaching staff and I know I can go in there and get developed. I've known Coach Keith Hayward since I was just a freshman and I really like Coach Joe Salavi, DL coach, a lot. He's a great coach, one of the best coaches in the country and I can't wait to learn from him. Thibodeau will be only the 3rd composite top 2 player to sign with a Pac-12 school in the past decade, following USC's in 2009 and UCLA's in 2017. As a cautionary tale for all in Eugene, neither player really lived up to his respective billing. Barkley did not lead USC back to the elite of college football and has thrown just 174 passes as a mid-round NFL draft pick, while Phillips is at UCLA. With Thibodeau now in the fold, Oregon's 2019 class now ranks number 5 nationally in the composite team rankings, a 20-man class that includes 11 4-stars and now a 12th blue-chip player in Thibodeau. A 16-yard touchdown pass from to with 1:29 remaining handed Morningside College its first national championship on Saturday, capping a 35-28 win over Benedictine in Daytona Beach, Florida. Morningside College is located in Sioux City, Iowa, while Benedictine College is in Atchison, Kansas. The Salsma to Niles connection was massive for Morningside. Salsma completed 19 of 36 passes for 292 yards and 4 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, with the bulk of the damage going to Niles, who caught 7 passes for 164 yards and 3 touchdowns. The game started with a 26-yard touchdown pass for Benedictine, as the Ravens held leads of 7-0, 14-7 and 20-14, all in the first half. But the Morningside defense stepped up in the second half, allowing the Mustangs to take control of the game with 2 Salsma touchdown passes, the first an 80-yarder to Niles, then a 19-yard score to, putting Morningside in front 28-20 at the 9:53 mark of the third quarter. Benedictine forged the game's third tie with a 1-yard rush with 5:49 remaining in the fourth quarter, then had a chance to take the lead again after forcing a Morningside punt, but a holding call killed the Ravens' drive and then disaster struck when a botched punt snap handed Morningside the ball at the Benedictine 18-yard line with 2 minutes remaining. On a 3rd and 8 from the 16, Salsma found Niles for the winning score. "It was going to him no matter what," Salsma said. "He's made big plays his entire career. This was no different." Niles' catch, the last of his career, saw him finish with 6,175 career receiving yards, the most in Nye history. "I just remember catching it and then going to my knees," Niles said. "After that, it was all cameras and teammates mobbing me. This is absolutely amazing." Morningside had been on the cusp of their first national title for the majority of the decade. The Mustangs lost the Nye title game in 2012 and then fell in the Nye semifinals in 4 of the past 5 seasons. The semifinal round saw Morningside avenge its 2016 and 17 playoff losses to the University of St. Francis, who would go on to win those seasons' national titles, in a 34-28 overtime thriller. "I've been motivated to not let this season end," Morningside head coach said. "The toughest part for me was that, at the end of the night, the year would be over. I'm so proud of what they've accomplished. It ended the way we were hoping, I'm ecstatic." UCLA linebacker has left the team and is unlikely to return, according to a report from Phillips, a Redlands, California, native, was the #1 recruit in the class of 2017, according to the composite rankings. He enrolled in January of that year but has yet to make an impact one would expect of the top overall player in his class. He started his first game as a Bruin as well as 3 more in 2017 and finished the year with 21 tackles, 7 TFLs and 3.5 sacks. He appeared in just 4 games as a sophomore, posting 20 tackles with 1 sack, while battling a number of injuries. According to the report, Phillips is considering quitting football altogether, but if he does transfer and play elsewhere, he would have 2 years of eligibility remaining. It would be at a school that offers a music production/technology degree, which UCLA does not.